We're seeing them now break up, and this is the area where they're standing with the flags, where they made history not that long ago, where we saw them walk out just a couple of hours ago, approach each other and shake hands the very first time a sitting U.S. president has met with the leader of North Korea. The two of them now having had their private meeting, the meetings with the groups, the working lunch, and now we see them as they're exiting this resort area. This is actually a small island off of Singapore. Singapore made up of multiple dozens of islands, I think in the 60s. But now they leave this area that we're told is a very tropical, humid environment there, as they have been sitting across from each other and having very serious discussions. The president a couple of times having comments, bits of humor with the press, with his counterpart there. They have been smiling. They have talked about extensively that they would work their way past challenges they both admit are there. And Kim Jong-un saying, listen, it's not going to be easy, but I'll vow to you that I will listen. He said that. And President Trump talking about the fact that he would reach across and try to bring this to some fruition. We're going to listen in to see if we can hear something here.
Really very positive. I think better than anybody could have expected. Top of the line. Really good. We're going right now for a signing.
What is the sign?
Can I give any comments about denuclearization?
What are you signing, sir?
We're going to be announcing that in a couple of minutes.
Mr. Kim, will you
Mr. Kim?
denuclearize?
And as we've said, Jason, with this president, often where you get the most media information or interesting things is when they're walking away and this is supposed to be wrapped up. Now, he said something interesting there. He said, we're going to sign something. And the press there yelling, what are you signing? What are you going to be signing? I'm not sure that's something that we expected, but he said, we'll tell you in a couple of minutes. What's going through your mind?
I don't know, but they seemed both happy and jovial, and to have them actually signing something together, that was a pretty productive lunch for the president and Kim Jong-un. I don't know what it is. We're going to find out in a few minutes, but this is history in the making.
It is. Maybe it was those stuffed cucumbers. I don't know. That was quite a fancy menu they had. But the president said there it's been really, really positive, better than anyone could have expected, top of the line, and now we're heading off to sign something. So we have no idea. There's so many things that they were going to talk about here, from formally ending the Korean War to denuclearization to some verification process. It seems nearly impossible that's something they would have worked out this quickly. But yet they're moving towards going to sign something. And the two leaders smiling, good body language, very comfortable, it seems, with each other. And now, the president knows how to work it. He knows how to tease things. The man has been a reality TV star. And now we've just gotten the ultimate tease about these two going off to sign something. And now we wait to find out what that could possibly be.
Well, each of the leaders brings in their own motorcade. They bring in their own food. They have it, highly scripted. But I'm not sure what they did when they went back there to the presidential limo. It looked like,
but official pen.
I don't know. But what I think people appreciate about Donald Trump is the impromptu nature in which he handles things, whether he's making a comment or trying to adjust things. But they seem to be getting along as opposed to having further conflict. So this is quite a moment. I wish we knew what they were saying right there, but the fact that they continue to spend more and more time together, I think, is obviously a positive.
Well, and you remember when General Kim came over, one of the top advisors, I believe he's there as part of the North Korean delegation with Kim Jong-un as well. He traveled to New York first and met with Secretary Pompeo, then on to the White House. He was going to deliver that letter from Kim Jong-un to the president that we believe was kind of sealing the deal. Can't wait to see you at the summit. This is going to happen. He was supposed to stay for 15 minutes, I think, and stayed for an hour and 15 minutes or closer to an hour and a half. So we know that this president will throw out all timelines and conventions. If he thinks something's working or progress is going to be made, he's not going to be on someone else's timeline. And maybe that's why he's signing something we knew nothing about or were expecting. You just never know.
Well, and there you have what looks like John Bolton there engaging in some of the discussion back and forth. It looks like they're impromptu, trying to decide exactly how and what they're going to do. But you have John Bolton, you have the translator, so it obviously takes longer to translate this. But you have the two people in the room that can actually make the decisions. And that's what's fascinating about this is they don't need to write home to somebody else to try to figure out what it is they want to do. And I think they're trying to convince him, if I had to guess, that what are we going to do next?
Well, and what's interesting, because we've heard so much criticism of the president on any number of fronts, but when it comes to this, people saying, You don't prepare for something like this in a matter of weeks. It takes months. You have to have meetings back and forth with the diplomats. Now, we know Secretary of State Pompeo did make numerous trips with Kim Jong-un and in meetings with General Kim, the head of their spy agency as well. So we know there's been some diplomatic back and forth, but experienced diplomats and people have said the president's not getting this right because he's not laying all that framework. They aren't meeting for months and years in advance before the two big leaders sit down. He doesn't do anything in a conventional way. And for whatever is happening here, it seems that the two have come to some kind of agreement, thumbs up, smiling at each other and nodding as they walk off separately. And it looks like Kim Jong-un is proceeding to a point where we would imagine he's going to leave. The president's gone back inside. So now we wait for that tease of all teases. We're going to sign something to see what these two have discussed. We know that Kim Jong-un was educated in Switzerland. We've heard him speak English. We know he does. You have to imagine when you are negotiating that you probably want to do that in your first language, your native tongue, for the nuance and the effect of that. But we know these two have been able to, as we've watched them publicly, and we know privately, they've been able to discuss things in English with each other. And it seems like they've established some kind of rapport after this very first, very historic meeting.